everybody. I'm sorry about the poor quality that we can't go sideways, but actually my computer is not working properly and my phone don't want to do it sideways. If we do this again, hopefully we will have proper equipment. Now I'm Angela Moore, your hillbilly psychic. And this is my friend and moderator and host and whatever else you want to call her, my best friend, Kim Clark. And together we used to do a show called Metaphysical Matters. It was done at WNCW. We did it for several years until one day we both woke up, several homes and everything, but we both woke up with the same feeling of we're just done with it for a while. That's a few years ago, so now we're back with it, and we decided we'd just do a little bit on here on Facebook Live and see what happens. And if we can figure it out, we might even move it over to YouTube. But we are not that tech savvy. But anyway, Kim's going to take over now. This is, again, Kim Clark from WNCW. She has a show down there, and she does all kinds of stuff. Take it away, Kim.
Okay, well, first of all, thanks for doing this. I've been after Angela to do this for a while. I said, we really need to get back on the airwaves somehow, doing something together, kind of a question and answer kind of thing. So we finally decided to give it a go. And as I said earlier, if you're watching one of our false starts, I did order a tripod that was made just for an iPhone. But
and
anyway.
Next time we can also maybe just use the computer if I can get it going good.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just jotted down some questions that I wanted to ask Angela, and I'll be keeping an eye on what you guys are saying too. And we'll just kind of see where the conversation goes. First of all, I've heard other people talking about this, and this has been happening to me like crazy lately, and it's synchronicity with numbers. Every time I look at the clock, it is 3:11, 9:11, 5:11, or 3:33, 11:11, just over and over and over. And with numbers mostly, it seems like. And here's a crazy synchronicity. One of the tasks that I do at WNCW is I edit audio. And one day I was working on a show that had two different pieces of audio in it, of two different interviews, and I was editing them and not paying any attention to the length of either one, because I do them all at once and then I go back and see what I need to trim off. I edited these two pieces of audio and I finished. They were both exactly the same length, down to the 1/100th of a second. I mean, that's almost impossible. So it's just numbers keep repeating. Numbers are matching up. What's up with that?
Okay, actually I have a lot of people have asked me similar things over the years, and two things. First, if it's the same number that's just recently come up, because some people have the same number their whole lives. I have somebody that I know that always sees fours, for example. So if that happens, you might say, well, that's your own soul number, that's your own power number. And I would also say that sometimes there's other random numbers. For a while it's all ones, for a while it's all threes, and you might want to look and see, okay, what does this number traditionally stand for? But most importantly, what does that number mean to you? Okay, because the universe is speaking to you. It's saying, look, pay attention, do a gut check. Where are you right now? Is this where you want to be? It doesn't even mean anything's wrong. It might mean there's an opportunity for change coming up. It might mean you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That's why you kind of stop, do a gut check. Now, let me give you my analogy, because as you know, that's what I do. You're going down I-40. You never meant to not be on I-40. You know where you're going, okay? But ever so often, you will still see I-40 signs that remind you you're on that path. And then at that time, you can say, yep, that's where I meant to be. You could also say, you know what, I didn't know I was going to be on here this long, or I'm bored of this now. It might mean there's an exit up there above. And so when you get to that exit, you might want to, maybe you want to take a I-95 for a while. So what you want to do a gut check, acknowledge maybe opportunities are happening, maybe you need to pay attention. That 1 means you have power right now, 3 means you might need balance right now. But you kind of want to just see what's going on. But you don't want to overthink it. You don't want to make too big a deal out of it. But when it's dramatic, like it was in the story she just relayed, where it's so down to the nub, you really might want to say, maybe give it a little extra thought. Maybe I'll just pull over this car on the highway for about 5 minutes and kind of think, where have I been? Where am I going? Is this okay? Anyway, that'd be my take on it, Kimmy.
Can you, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're talking about what if the meaning could be of different numbers. Can you kind of run through them real quick and say, if you're seeing ones, it means this, twos
Yeah,
means
I
this?
don't always know the meaning of all the numbers. You'll have to forgive me, but like 1 would definitely mean a power card. You have the power to make something happen. 2 would be about balance, feminine energy as well. 3 is definitely about balance. It's also about, starting something new. 4 would be about personal power. 8's a money card. 4 is an authority card. 5 is a freedom. I say card. For some reason, I'm putting this on the card now. But
makes sense.
Yeah, because, cards, for people that, are interested in that, the numbers each have that kind of number assigned to them for a reason. Anyway, you could do this, though. You can Google. You can look it up and see, what does this mean?
The greatest oracle of all time.
Okay, well, I don't know how, honey. Somebody wants me to adjust the camera, hold it down a little. I don't know. Is that better? Because evidently we were not having any problem.
Can we press play?
Let's do that. Okay, we just made everybody go away. I don't know. We'll bring you back in a minute and see what they're saying, okay? Please bear with us because, again, we are having technical difficulties. I would have been very disappointed had we not had technical difficulties on this first.
It wouldn't have been an Angela Moore production without technical difficulties.
This is true. She's a perfectionist. I don't even care. It's really good that I actually I put on lipstick for y'all. Go ahead.
I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to the smartphones because I'm a conscientious objector of smartphones and a lot of technology. But anyway, okay, so that was really cool with the numbers. So I really appreciate you hearing that from you. But what about if it's different numbers and it seems like the pattern is you just keep seeing repeating numbers, like 1's matched up, 3's matched up, 5's matched up.
Again, I would think that is saying you didn't listen to the first number I sent you, so we're going to double down and make sure you get it now.
Okay, all right.
That's my take. But you know what? You go by your take, okay? No matter what I tell you or anybody else tells you, in the end, you've got to go by what you feel is the right thing for you, okay? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Now, here's a subject that a lot of people are talking about, and you've mentioned it to me, and you forwarded out some emails probably to other people besides me. Now in the news, there's so much talk about UFOs, and it's not like, okay, here's a story about a UFO, now let's all laugh and say it was a weather balloon. Now the military people are saying, we don't know what this is, or we have been in contact. I mean, looks like we're almost at full-blown disclosure. What are your thoughts about that?
I think we're in slow motion disclosure. I think that we are in a place where you can't just drop that bombshell on people because they freak out too easy as it is. The stock market could be affected. So I think they have to kind of ease it out there and let us know. But let me tell you something, people. We're not the only country on the planet that is experiencing stuff. And I think because other countries are more likely to let you know, our country is kind of being pushed now to let us know a little bit more too. I don't know if this is good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. I don't know. I think knowledge is power, and I think it's important that we have that power, but I do think that it's wise to leak things in because some people go crap crazy over anything that does not fit very neatly in their belief system, and I'm not probably any better than anybody else, But I think it's high time there are people that have had experiences, have been vindicated, number one, and that people of very good reputation and technical knowledge are actually being listened to instead of ridiculed like there's some sort of 14th century scientist you're going to make walk around the church a few times because you believe the earth is round. Whatever. That it's time. It's going to get more so. I don't think there is like one group of alien beings. I think there are probably many groups. I think they travel interdimensionally. I think that some may actually have been here before us. I think there's walking around. I think there's definitely DNA. And why am I doing this? I think there's DNA. I meant to do. There's DNA in some of these people that I think that have been commingled, maybe. So I think this is an ongoing thing, and I don't think it's an accident that all of a sudden we're hearing more. I think there is more to come, maybe big stuff more to come. But if it goes quiet, if there's radio silence again on this issue, be worried because that ain't right. It's time. I'm going to see if I can swipe and get a comment. Hey.
We are here.
Okay. I'm glad you're watching. I'm so tickled y'all are here. Hey.
Deanna.
Okay. Somebody go. You go. I'm sorry.
Somebody, that's got to be me. You know, it's interesting. I think we've been prepared for disclosure for a long time through media. You see that as been very purposeful?
I think we've been prepared for disclosure since Teletubbies, and I'm not taking that back. I'm sorry, but I worked in a pharmacy back in. And be glad I do not work in a pharmacy anymore.
And you said Teletubbies.
Yeah, Teletubbies, because I said then to everybody at the pharmacy who basically, chalked that up to Angela needs a vacation, that the Teletubbies, I think, were starting to influence little children that hybrids are fun and okay. Maybe they are. I'm not making a judgment. I'm just saying I felt a weird energy with that it was somehow preparing little minds to accept more than this form right here. Then you see Chicken Little, the little kids movie, fun movie about the aliens, sky's falling. Again, I'm saying, I am telling you people, we are being prepared for disclosure. And now those little kids are full-grown adults and demanding to have this sort of thing, okay? So I think that's what's going on. I think that we have been, what is the word I'm looking for? Prepared. What do you call that word I'm looking for, Kim? We have been prepared.
Conditioned
to be more accepting the younger people than we older folks who were taught that, you're not allowed to think if you see something or know something, you're not allowed. And I do got stories, people. I cannot say I am an abductee. I do think I had an experience, though, that's becoming a little more clear. I think I know she's had some experiences because I have felt them. I felt some of it with y'all. I think maybe she does have a little DNA in there. Maybe we all do. I don't know. I'm just saying, we just barely scratching the surface. But people, I had a Chihuahua, Ren. She was awful.
It always comes down to the Chihuahuas.
It does. I loved her. She was awful. That's why I loved her. She would sit, I'd show herself in the mirror, as I'm sure maybe some of you have done. She wouldn't look. I'd say, look, Ren, there's Ren in the mirror. No. Doing this, she's not looking. She could see herself in the mirror. She might not have been able to recognize herself in the mirror, being that she was in fact a dog, but she could see it, but yet she chose. And that's what I feel like with people. It's like we have something right there in front of us, maybe something that reflects us, but we refuse to see it. We refuse because we're not able to deal with whatever that is, okay?
It's interesting because I think originally we collectively would have been more receptive to aliens. Because if you remember, we've all seen those headlines that came out of Roswell, New Mexico in 1947 in the paper. UFO from outer space, crashes in the desert. And it was a news item, and people
Nobody went crazy.
Went crazy.
They did go crazy with War of the Worlds. But of course, then we were being actually attacked, so...
we were conditioned at first to poo-poo it. And then at some point, they've kind of put that in reverse, and the conditioning is now, I guess, to get us ready for the inevitable.
Has to be. And it's about time. I mean, I could tell you, I think sometimes I feel stuff, and I think that they are actually maybe giving us messages in our dreams, otherworldly beings, as to what they are here for. And, some people say it's all for love and joy, and some people say it's all for horrific stuff, and maybe it's just a little bit of whatever we think may not mean a thing to how otherworldly beings might think. Like the way I think may be wildly different than what the grasshopper out back is thinking. It could be that extreme of a difference, and it might not. But I think we tend to think of them as being just like a couple of 100 years ahead, when they actually might be about 1,000,000 years ahead. And then again, maybe what I get from them is that we are utter confusion to them, and that's why it might have taken multi-generations to actually maybe to live among us in this form. So we are probes, maybe some people, to report back to the home world, I kid people about that. I say, that's my husband, he was sent. I've actually said about her, maybe we're sent here for that, you're a probe, you're going to report back to the home world to tell them what humans are. And maybe we are so wildly different. It takes a few generations of not just viewing, but incarnating. I mean, I don't know that. I'm just making words.
And if time passes differently for them, what's multi-generational for us could be, in their experience, a couple of months.
And my dogs could think about it. They would think that I'm probably a forever person because, I could live way through their great grandchildren's, so a time that's in the same timeline even. So maybe they live a very long time. And like she said, maybe they're outside of time too. Maybe
Of our time.
Yeah, maybe it's all a bunch of nothing. We don't know. But I feel like we're on a path to where we are going to know. Okay? Okay, go ahead, girlie.
Okay, just one more thing before we kind of leave the alien subject for now. Is that okay?
You're the moderator.
Okay.
You're the boss.
In what realm, we're talking about them being outside of our experience of time, or of linear time, or at least the way we know it. In what realm, or how can you just talk about where they are in our experience? Because when I think of what felt to me like an alien abduction event for me, it felt more like it was in the dreamscape, but it wasn't a dream. It's like they're in a slightly different frequency or dimension.
Frequency is the right word. I
Okay.
think they are in a different frequency. I don't even know what that means, but that resonates when you say that.
Okay.
And I feel like carry on with whatever you're thinking there because you're probably on the right track.
Okay. All right. You ready to move on to a different subject? You sent me an email the other day. It had some interesting little tidbits about people who were caught in time loops, and it was so cool. Most of these, it must have been a publication from the UK, because most of the stories were from the UK, but this was from people who actually, like, they were walking along going from point A to point B, and they realized they kept passing the same street. They kept passing the same car, the person over here doing the same thing over and over and over, and it took them 4 or 5 times for this before they were able to finally reach escape velocity, whatever that means. And I've heard other people talk about experiencing time loops within their lives. Like, why do I have to keep doing this same thing over and over and over in exactly the same way? It's like a time loop.
Sometimes I think there are wrinkles in time. I've said this before, and then you told me it was actually in a book like this, but I thought of this myself, and that is, I feel like time, or maybe you didn't. I think, let me just go like this. I see time like a movie, real, and it's like here it all is in this one reel. And for it to make sense to us, it has to be pulled out like that, pulled out in a linear form. And that's how we experience it. But I think that, yes, I think that it is possible that all time is right here, and maybe sometimes we might skip around a little bit and we get out of time. Maybe sometimes we do get in a loop where we kind of get like a needle on a record that's scratched, and it has to just keep playing, and finally maybe it jolts out. I think sometimes maybe we're kicked back to replay something because we didn't get it. So I think maybe that's the way we experience it, that all time is here, but we kind of are everywhere at the same time. That's the best way I can say. I'm not an expert on this. I can only tell you that I do think sometimes we have to repeat stuff for a certain lesson, and sometimes I think that we maybe are even taken out and put back. I know of some people that told me a long time ago that they were traveling, and as they were traveling, they knew what time it was and what time they needed to be there, and somehow they found themselves at their destination, but like 30 minutes to an hour, something like that. It's been a long time earlier, and it wouldn't be possible. It wasn't like, even if there was no cars and they went at full rate of speed, the distance traveled was not possible for them to go to that length, that way. So I do think that, sometimes maybe something else is kind of meddling with us, and then sometimes for reasons that we're not understand, maybe a wrinkle in the film, the analogy, that kind of shoots us forward or pulls us back, sometimes randomly, and sometimes higher purpose that may be beyond our pay grade to understand right now.
What about getting stuck in a time loop collectively as a
Yeah.
human race?
I think that it's very possible that all the world maybe has done that on occasion, so that's why maybe things seem so familiar, because maybe the whole planet, the whole universe has hit the little record thing a few times. I think it's very possible that could explain a lot of deja vu, even though there's a scientific evidence explanation for it. Maybe that is true, maybe sometimes it's not. So yeah, I don't even have a comment on this, because I think you've kind of said it all. I think there is a sometimes there's a little skip ahead, a little skip back, and a little get stuckness. Sometimes it's random, and sometimes there's a reason that we may not understand at our current level of understanding.
There's a lady, I bet a lot of the folks who are watching are familiar with her work. Her name is Dolores Cannon, and she's passed away now, but she was a lady from Texas who was just a run-of-the-mill hypnotherapist. She helped people stop smoking, lose weight, etc. And then one time when she was in a session, some other consciousness came in and started to be able to give her very deep information. Anyway, in one of these sessions, what the information that came out is that sometimes they, whoever they are, would reset us. Like if we were on a path that may be a path we shouldn't be on collectively, they would just reset us and start over. And that was her explanation for what people call the Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Swanee, that is, there's something to that.
And if folks are not, folks are not familiar with that, that's when
just Google it.
Google it. But anyway, briefly, it's when you remember things being differently, and everybody does. Like one that comes up a lot is the Bernstein Bears, and now you look at it and it's the Bernstein Bears, and everybody remembers it a different way. Just a little stuff like that.
Okay, think of this: Monopoly, the little man. Does he have a monocle?
Yes.
No. He does not have a monocle.
Interesting.
And he never has had a monocle. But I am telling you, he had a monocle.
Wow. I definitely remember him with a monocle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That is so cool. All right. So, how you feeling? You feeling?
One more thing, and I believe that we can wind it up for today.
All right. Here's one other subject I had scribbled down here. You're so good at interpreting dreams. You're great with dream symbolism. My question is, can that symbolism carry into your waking life?
I'm not sure exactly if I understand the question, but my initial response is yes. That's kind of the whole point, that I think that the symbolism we have there, we can be maybe shown these same things in our wake state so that we can remember. You know, everything that we have gone through in our dream world, it's there. It's in the back of your mind. It's there when you need it. Even though you may not have conscious access to stuff, it's there, you know, when that time comes that you need to access that information, such as we may visit in spirits. You know, I think we cavort with spirits in our dreams that we have no memory of that, but whatever they gave us, whatever emotional support, whatever words of wisdom, whatever foretelling they may have given us, it's there when you need it. But also, obviously, it's to work out all kinds of stuff that we deal with, too. But there also could be other things, other realities, other stuff being downloaded, being put in there. And could there be things that are given there that we're then given, like, I dreamed this, I knew this, I've been here. Maybe we step ahead in time through our dreams. I know that happens because of what I've witnessed with my clients over the years. I know that sometimes when we are in our dream state, not only are we out of our body doing that, we're actually stepping ahead in time, okay? So I think that there's all kinds of stuff that we may carry with us into the ether and then bring back.
Well, this is just an example from me personally. This happened just a few days ago. I dreamed that there were a bunch of joggers going through the house, and they all had stepped in excrement of some kind, and it was everywhere, and it's going to be my job to clean it up, and it was a huge mess. And then when I woke up, my toilet wouldn't flush, my cat had diarrhea, and then I went out to the chicken pen, and there was a big mess. It's like the theme that was in my dream carried forward into waking time.
Okay, I think that, again, this could be an example of you stepping ahead in time, or being, what I feel, let me change that a little bit, is you were literally out of your body when you're having this, where you're seeing these things happen, you're being aware of these things happen, and you bring that back to your dream state, and then wake up, and then your consciousness is, oh, this is what's happening in real time. But I've had that happen. I bet you people have too, where you've actually woke up, you know, I woke up one morning, I was dreaming about this lady I hadn't seen in years, and then the phone rang, and it was her. So I think that it's very possible that, while I'm out there in the ether, I'm picking up these bits of information, bring it back, translate it into a dream, wake up, there it is.
So it's not the universe saying, okay, here's the symbolism in your dream, and now it's the same symbolism in your life.
It could very well be what she said, and I'll tell you right now, if that's what she woke up thinking, there's a reason that she's thinking it. If she thinks that the symbolism in her dream and the symbolism in life are in sync or the same, then for her it is. That's why she's thinking it. In other words, you've got to trust your own process. Very often what you feel, first thing you feel, is usually right. Not the 20th thing, because by that time you've just analyzed it so bad. And one thing you might want to do sometimes is just turn it loose. Like, this is interesting. I think I need to pay attention to the crap going on in my life. That's what I'm saying about that. That I might need to do some cleanup and get rid of some thoughts, some pain, some people, some whatever. So I think that absolutely is going to what she dreamed, and she feels it was being given a symbol in dream and a symbol in real world. I think that she's right. I think I'm right. I think there's more than one way of looking at this thing, and you just got to go with whatever settles with you, whatever resonates with you, because everybody's different, every situation's different, and everybody's the same, and everything is the same. You got to find that place in there that fits you. Okay? Well.
Okay. Anything else that you feel like you want to say before we sign off?
I think I'm about. Thank you, people, so much.
Well, I think what we'll, as we said, we had technical challenges today getting started. So we're going to look back at your comments and any questions that you had. I'm going to write them down, and we do this again. We'll bring your thoughts and your questions in, and hopefully next time we'll be able to respond real time.
And maybe have a computer set up so we can do it a little bit better. Whatever, I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And emotions are confusing, and that's why we do. Somebody had commented on that. That is why we have to, I think, have all this stuff bombarded, that we have to sort it out with our dreams and sort it out with our actions and sort it out by seeing your hillbilly psychic. Anyway, do what you want. Thank you so much. Bye for now.